Everything looks different now that we're all grown up. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 disturbing realizations you'll have as an adult watching Disney movies. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're taking a look at things in Disney movies you never noticed as a kid, but are kind of creepy, illogical, or mature when you look back as an adult. Number 10. You identify more with King Triton than Ariel, the Little Mermaid. Growing up, chances are you identified with Ariel and her dreams of being part of the human world.
I want to be where the people are.
Now that you're older, however, you probably identify more with King Triton, especially if you have children of your own.
Oh, Ariel, how many times must we go through this? You could have been seen by one of those barbarians, by one of those humans.
While Triton could occasionally lose his temper, in retrospect he had a good reason for being so strict.
Do you think I want to see my youngest daughter snared by some fish-eater's hook?
I'm 16 years old. I'm not a child
Don't
anymore.
you take that tone of voice with me, young lady.
When your kid is only 16, they are not old enough to make life-altering decisions. If your teenage daughter told you she wanted to run away and marry a guy she just met, firmly telling her no would be a perfectly reasonable response. In reality, Ariel's fate likely would have been much closer to Hans Christian Andersen's original fairy tale.
I consider myself a reasonable merman. I set certain rules, and I expect those rules to be obeyed.
Number 9. Cinderella's got some weird feet. Cinderella.
And look, glass slippers.
We all know the setup. Cinderella loses her glass slipper, Prince Charming has every maiden in the kingdom try it on, the shoe fits Cinderella's foot, and our love interests get hitched. This might make sense through the eyes of a child, but adults can point out several problems here. If the slipper was a perfect fit, why did it fall off in the first place? On top of that, Cinderella is the only woman in the entire kingdom with this precise shoe size. Really? What if it had fit someone else? Would the prince have married her instead? This plot point is so absurd that they actually poke fun at it in Cinderella 3.
But the royal proclamation declared...
Yes, but it would appear that more than one girl actually fits the slipper.
Number 8. The Enchantress cursed a child. Beauty and the Beast.
Although he had everything his heart desired, the prince was spoiled, selfish, and unkind.
As the opening narration tells us, an enchantress turns the prince into a beast because of his cruelty. He can only break the spell if he learns to love another and earns her love in return by his 21st birthday.
If he could learn to love another and earn her love in return by the time the last petal fell, then the spell would be broken.
But wait a minute. During the Be Our Guest number, Lumiere mentions that they've been rusting for 10 years.
Oh, 10 years we've been rusting, needing so much more than dusting.
Does that mean that the Enchantress cursed a 10-year-old? Well, the prince looks much older in his portrait and various stained glass windows, so either he went through a huge growth spurt, or this is just a massive plot hole. To the 2017 live-action remakes credit, the filmmakers do correct this error by changing the dialogue.
But the rose she had offered was truly an enchanted rose. If he could learn to love another and earn their love in return by the time the last petal fell, the spell would be broken.
Number 7. Peter Pan and Tinkerbell's relationship. Peter Pan. For a movie about embracing the spirit of youth, Peter Pan isn't as innocent as you might think. For starters, it encourages kids to run away from home with a stranger who wears tights. Then there's Peter's relationship with Tinkerbell, a fairy who obviously has the hots for her human companion.
Oh! Stop it, Tink!
When Peter grows closer to Wendy, the jilted Tink tricks the Lost Boys into shooting her competition down. This isn't the only time Tink puts Wendy's life in jeopardy, as jealousy drives her to give away Peter's location to his arch-enemy. Tinkerbell is often viewed as a lovable sidekick, but she has the complexity of a Shakespearean villain.
Don't you know you might have killed her?
Number 6. Dumbo got drunk. Dumbo.
Well,
Ain't nothing little water won't cure.
Seeing pink elephants is a phrase attributed to drunken hallucinations. You wouldn't think a concept like this would have any place in a Disney movie, but it plays a significant role in Dumbo. After Dumbo and Timothy accidentally consume an alcoholic beverage, they're suddenly bombarded by a parade of pink elephants.
You see what I see?
While the ensuing musical number is a highlight of the film, most children likely overlook the fact that the underage Dumbo got totally wasted.
Look out! Pink elephants on parade, here they come, hippity-hoppity.
Well, this movie did come out in the 1940s. It's not like Disney would do something like this in one of their modern movies, right? Kids and dinosaurs on a drug trip. You know, fun for the whole family. Number 5. What happened to the Donkey Boys? Pinocchio.
And what's your name? Okay, you'll do.
For the most part, Pinocchio wraps things up in a tidy little package. The wooden puppet becomes a real boy, and everyone lives happily ever after.
You're alive. And you are a real boy. A real life boy.
Well, everyone except for the boys back on Pleasure Island, that is. Lampwick and the other kids are all transformed into donkeys.
So you can talk.
Yes, sir. I want to go home to my mama.
Where some of these boys can still talk, the rest are virtually stripped of their humanity and sold off into slave labor. We never see what happens to any of them after Pinocchio escapes, so it's safe to assume that they lived out the rest of their days in misery. The cheerful ending might distract kids from this unresolved plot point, but parents are left wanting closure. Number 4 was Nala, Simba's half-sister, the Lion King. Ever notice that we never see Nala's father in the Lion King? Come to think of it, outside of Simba, the only male lions on Pride Rock seem to be Mufasa and Scar. Hold on. Does that mean Mufasa is Nala's father, making her Simba's half-sister?
Yuck. Ew. I can't marry her. She's my friend. Yeah, it'd be so weird.
While Mufasa appeared to be in a monogamous relationship with Simba's mother, all of the lionesses sleep in the same den as their king. Isn't that a bit suggestive? Granted, Scar could also arguably be Nala's father, making her Simba's first cousin. Either way though, Simba would have married into his own bloodline and conceived a cub of incest. Is this a Disney movie or Game of Thrones?
Stop!
Number 3. Romantic relationships start too fast. Various.
How long have you two been together?
Oh, about a day.
You mean it feels like a day because you're so in love?
No, it's been a day.
When you're a kid, love at first sight may seem like a natural phenomenon. At a certain age, however, it becomes clear that romantic relationships are much more complicated than Disney couples make them out to be. Snow White falls in love with her prince after one encounter and rides off with him following their first kiss. It doesn't take much more than an enchanted evening together for Cinderella and Prince Charming to commit for life. The same goes for Aurora and Philip.
We've met before.
We have?
Well, of course. You said so yourself. Once upon a dream.
Ariel gives up everything for Eric, even though they've never even had a conversation.
What would I give to live where you are?
Of course, Disney is becoming more self-aware with this trope, as demonstrated in movies like Enchanted and Frozen.
Hang on. You mean to tell me you got engaged to someone you just met that day?
Yes, pay attention.
Number 2. Historical accuracy. Various.
He's making this story sound like some Greek tragedy.
Lighten up, dude.
Disney introduced a generation of children to historical figures like Pocahontas and mythological figures like Hercules. Once you start reading about these people in school, however, you'll realize that Disney took some serious liberties with their film adaptations. In real life, Pocahontas was only around 10 years old when she met the fully grown John Smith. There's also little to no historical evidence to back up the claim that these two were romantically involved. As for Hercules, the filmmakers understandably omitted the part where our titular hero kills Megara and their kids.
Meg! No!
Seeing how most Disney movies have dark, twisted origins, it shouldn't come as a surprise that they have no problem with rewriting history. Before we get to our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
It's not a bad idea, if she's interested. Well, what do you say?
into the cupboard with your brothers and sisters.
But I'm not sleepy.
Yes, you are.
Number 1. Racism. Various.
Well, I'm glad there ain't gonna be no trouble.
There ain't no place that far.
Disney has been around for almost 100 years, and the company's age really shows through sometimes. Just go back and watch a few of their earlier feature films. The jive-talking black crows from Dumbo definitely wouldn't fly in today's PC world.
Look at here. My. Why, this is most irregular.
It's also easy to see why the Siamese cats from Lady and the Tramp aren't exactly considered culturally sensitive.
We are Siamese, if you please.
Speaking of cats perpetuating Asian stereotypes, what's up with this scene from the Aristocats?
Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Fuyang. Fortune cookie always wrong. That's the hot one.
Peter Pan doesn't portray Native Americans in the most respectful light either. Oh, and don't even get us started on Song of the South. Let's just be glad that Disney's taken a major step forward with movies like Zootopia.
Ooh, you probably didn't know, but a bunny can call another bunny cute, but when other animals do it, it's a little...
I am so sorry.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.